Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar today. We're really excited. We've just launched a new version of Quirkos today, Quirkos 2.4. It's a free update for all our existing users on Quirkos version 2, and it adds a lot of features behind the scenes and in front of the scenes that I think are going to make things a lot smoother and a lot easier for a lot of people. So we're going to go through some of those things today. Basically, the focus of this has been about the kind of global nature of the users of Quirkos in the last kind of year or so. We've seen, largely due to the COVID pandemic, a lot of people needing to work from home, a lot of people working remotely, and a lot of people collaborating, sometimes even specifically on COVID-related projects across the globe. So we had launched earlier in the year the Quirkos Cloud service, and that's just seen a phenomenal explosion in popularity across the world. And what we'd seen from users is that some people were not having great connection experiences with it. With our servers, there was a need to kind of improve that. Now, that was something we always planned that we were going to have to do, but suddenly the demand kind of grew a lot faster than we needed to. So that's become a quick priority for development. And this is something that's been more than 6 months in planning. So the situation yesterday was that we had one server that was based in the UK and served people in Europe and the Middle East and Africa pretty well. But for people living in other parts of the world, although they could connect and things were fine, it could be a little slow, it could be a little laggy, and sometimes people would have trouble logging in. So as for today, we've added new servers based in the USA to serve the USA and South America, and also a separate server in Canada to serve users in Canada, especially because they have their own data protection requirements, and also a server in Singapore to serve the Asia Pacific region. And for users who are in New Zealand and Australia, that's probably the people who are going to see the most benefit from this. It's a huge improvement in performance and reliability for the Quirkos Cloud. And what that means in our testing is that most users in these new regions will experience something like a 10 times improvement in just the responsiveness and the speed of projects opening and closing. So it has exactly the same functionality no matter which server you're using, and everything happens automatically behind the scenes to make sure you get the best experience. So all the same project sharing options are still available. You can still share projects with people working anywhere in the world. All the same security requirements and all the same security procedures that we have in place to make the Quirkos Cloud secure exists for our now our global network of shared servers. But it greatly increases the reliability, redundancy, and especially the performance for a lot of people. And there's nothing that users need to do. So basically from today, you'll get a notification when you log in that there's a new version available, and performance will be slower until you update to the new version. But all you have to do is go to our website, and there's a link in the software to download the new version, update. It won't affect your project or anything like that. And then the next time you log in with a new client, your projects will automatically be moved to the server closest to you if you're going to get better performance. That might take a few minutes if you've got a whole ton of projects there, but as a one-time thing. We're also keeping a backup of all those projects just to make sure that everything goes smoothly. We've not seen any problems in 6 months of testing. And then from as soon as you start opening your projects, you should be able to see the benefit of that. So it's going to be a major improvement for a lot of people. And a lot of people who may have tried Quirkos before and found that wherever they were, the internet connection seemed really slow for them. It's going to get much better performance now. So we greatly suggest that people do download the new client as soon as possible, and then try out the new version if you've not used it before. But there are also improvements in the general client. So remember, Quirkos has exactly the same desktop app for the cloud and the offline version. So however you're storing your projects, you'll get all of the benefits in the new version. So as always, we've got numerous bug fixes, especially for reports which seemed to go blank for some Mac users after a Mac OS update. So we fixed that issue, a whole bunch of issues with scrolling and other kind of performance, strange characters in PDFs and things like that. So lots of fixes. So thanks to everyone who's reported issues, so we can fix them. We've also improved the Quirk search, so you can search within terms, and that's really helpful. We've improved the description for the quirks as well, so that can be much longer and multi-line, and that's very important. Now we're seeing more people collaborating and need to describe exactly what codes, themes or quirks are going to be used for. And then kind of my favorite thing is we've also got new recode tools. So this allows you to start breaking up and recoding and rethinking and doing kind of multiple layers of coding, and kind of really kind of manage your codes a lot better than you were able to before. And I'm going to demonstrate that today. Now, and with all our updates, it's a free update for everyone on Quirkos 2, whatever version you're coming from. It's available today, absolutely identical for Windows, Mac and Linux. You can collaborate across those platforms, you can share project files. There's no difference in the documentation or any of the functionalities or capabilities. They're all identical. And all of your projects and compatibility is not changed in the new version. If you're collaborating with people using the old version, it's no problem at all. We always maintain backward compatibility as well, so no problem if you've got other people who didn't get a chance to update yet. So you can download the update from Quirkos.com. Very easy to install, and then you should be able to take advantage of all these new benefits in the new version of Quirkos. Right, so that's enough of the spiel. Time to actually kind of show what it looks like. What we've got here is the kind of sound log on page that you'll see. Now if you're working offline, as always, you'll see this button, continue with local storage. So if you've got the permanent static offline license, the one where it saves everything just on your computer and not on the cloud, you just can click on this button and keep going and you'll see all the new features. But we also got the cloud version here. So if you account or you need to create one, you can click here to do that. You just log in as usual. Oops. And you'll see a list of all your projects. Now this is the point here where you may get a message saying that things have been, your projects are being moved to the new server, and that might take a few minutes. I'm in the UK, so my projects won't be moved, so anyone in Europe and Africa and the Middle East will still best be performed by the UK-based server, so we're absolutely keeping that running. And now I'm just going to open one of the projects here, and then I can show you some of the new features here. So this is the example project that we've shown multiple times. It's one of the ones which is completely open source, so that anybody can download and use it for learning qualitative software in general, or Quirkos. And we've got these examples of coded projects here which you can play with yourself. But what I want to do is show some of the different features. So the first off is the improved Quirk search functionality in version 2.4. So previously, if you were looking for something which was kind of a subset or a second word in the Quirk, then it didn't appear. So it was only showing the beginning of Quirk. So where I could find personal, if I started to type person, if I started to type opinions, it wouldn't show up because my codes don't begin with opinion. But now the search is happening within the word. So there's lots of different ways we can do. So now if we look for politics, we've got politicians and policies and also general politics. So that's going to make things a lot easier if you've got lots of codes to search through and find. Now, one of the other things that we have here is if you go and edit one of your codes, you'll see that we now have a multi-level description here. There's much more space, and you can have multiple lines to do your description. So this is extremely important when you're doing collaboration with people. Lots of people are doing coding, and you want people to be very clear about the usage of codes, how to use those codes. So here now we can say, what do I mean by parties here? Well, I mean UK political parties. And maybe we want to be very specific about that. So major parties registered with the Electoral Commission. And just by using Shift and Enter, I can go to the next line. I can put don't use for fun parties. Okay, so we're very clear now what we mean by this code and what it should be used for. And this is a very important part of collaborative coding. Now, previously there wasn't a limit to the description, but you could only have one line. And you'll see now, if you hover the mouse over one of the codes, you'll start to see here we've got the multi-line description now. UK political parties, major parties registered with the Electoral Commission, don't use for fun parties. So it becomes a lot easier now to work with other people and be very clear about what different codes mean. Now, one of the other features which we've added here is also much greater powerful tools to recode codes and themes. So it's a very common practice that once you've done kind of one tranche of coding like this, you might go back through it and say, oh my goodness, I've got these huge codes here, positive and negative. They're so vague that they're not actually very useful for my analysis. I need to kind of split those up and be more defined. Now I've done some of that here. So I have a code for political parties, and I can code to the top level code there as well. But if I click on the overview here, you can also see in popped out there, I've got these subcategories for the different political parties which people have discussed in this project. But if I hadn't done that, if I just had one giant code for parties and I hadn't split these out like this, it's quite a bind to go back through and recode splitting things up. Now with the merge functions in Quirkos, it's very easy to make things it's very easy to make small codes bigger. So if I wanted to, if I've considered that strategy and business were too similar, I can just right click and I can merge together business with strategy. Obviously I've chosen one's right down the bottom. Oops. Strategy. And I can merge those codes together. It's offering me the chance to change the name of that there, and there it is. Flashes that it's been changed. I'm actually going to undo that, but it's very easy to add codes together later, which is why I generally suggest people try and create quite a lot of codes when they go through and do their first coding. But here we've got this huge theme here, positive. And this has just basically become a bit vague. What do we mean by positive? What are people being positive about? How positive are people? Is it like mildly positive or ecstatic about different things? It would be actually really useful now if we could break this up. And with Quirkos 2.4, we've got new tools here which help us do that. So you can now see that we've got this, the Add Quirk button, which is in the main view, is now in the overlap view as well. So when we click on that, we can add a new code underneath, and we'll call this, I don't know, this is going to be quite a bad example, but slightly positive. And we'll give that a kind of light shade of green, sorry. And we'll create another one here. So these are becoming subcategories to the theme at the top. We'll create another one called, I guess, very positive. Again, this is going to just be a very crude example here. And we'll give that a darker green. Okay. And now, because I'm in the positive view, I can see everything that I've coded to the positive theme, and I can, it's still a very manual process, obviously, of this coding, but I can read through and start splitting these up. So I could say that this first one here, actually that's a very positive comment, so I'll put that on the very positive code. This one here is, select the whole code there, that's slightly positive. Actually, what I should be doing is I can click there to select the whole quote. I can drag that again, that's one slightly positive. So here you can start reading through, systematically breaking up your codes into kind of smaller codes and themes if you need to do that. Now you can also create subcategories here. Okay, now this is where it's going to be ridiculous, so maybe we want very slightly positive. Again, this is not a very good example, but you can now be as nuanced as you like within these subcategories. So we've got slightly positive, and under that we've got slightly positive. So I can choose this code, which is slightly positive, and make it very slightly positive. So I can do much more nuanced understandings there. And now if I go back to the main theme, you'll now see that positive, we've now got these subcategories. So we've got split some out into very positive and positive. And what we could do is actually, if they're all split up, we could actually remove the top level code so that we only have our kind of split up subcategories. And it's actually a very common operation to do that. But now you've also got the option when you're going through and reviewing things by code to edit these as well. So you can right click and you can delete. We can delete our ridiculous, very slightly positive code. We can right click on the positive code we have here, and we can change it. We can assign it to a level. We can give it a description, and we can change the color here as well. So this gives us a lot more capabilities to recode once we've been through and doing a lot of coding. And it's something that a lot of people had asked for, and it was a really good suggestion. So one of the reasons why we love it when people get in touch with comments and suggestions and feedback. So please keep that coming. So those are the kind of the major changes. A lot of the other things are really kind of bug fixes, so just things that if you had come across them before, you shouldn't see them anymore. They're all pretty minor things, so not very much that's very visual to show you, I'm afraid. But everything else is still there. All the compatibility is there. But again, especially if you're using the Quirkos cloud, you're going to see an amazing increase in performance if you're located across the world. And we're very excited to share that with people and improve the way that people are able to use and collaborate with Quirkos in these very strange remote working times. So thanks so much for coming along today. As I said, you can download straight from our website, www.quirkos.com. If you've not tried Quirkos before, you've got a free trial of the cloud for 14 days or offline for 4 weeks, and you can see what makes it such a visual and intuitive and becoming an extremely popular tool for simple qualitative analysis. Thanks for coming along.